Good morning. It's time to get in touch. In Touch is a public affairs show dedicated to improving the lives of Susquehanna Valley residents. I'm Freddi Hammer, news director at Backyard Broadcasting. Well, the waterways in Pennsylvania are deeply loved here. Some used for industry, tourism, just general environment and climate appreciation around the Susquehanna Valley in north central PA. Well, there's a group called POWR. It's POWR, and it stands for Pennsylvania Organization for Watersheds and Rivers. And they raise awareness and support all the efforts to celebrate and protect and restore Pennsylvania's rivers and streams. And they're holding an inspiring film festival this week. I'm on the phone this morning with Tali MacArthur. She's the program manager for Watershed Outreach of the Pennsylvania Environmental Council and POWR. Good morning to you, Tali.
Good morning.
Tell us, why is it so important to protect the Pennsylvania streams and rivers and watersheds?
Well, we want to protect all of our rivers and our watersheds and our streams, in part because they are such wonderful places to visit and recreate in and enjoy and go paddling and fishing. They also provide critical habitat for sort of the everyday species that we know, but also more exotic, or I probably shouldn't use the word exotic, but more the less known creatures as well.
Some that we haven't seen before. I mean, I've never seen one of those, the salamanders.
Hellbender.
Yeah, the Hellbender.
Yes, our new state amphibian. That's kind of what I mean. It's exotic looking, but I should be careful with that term because it can also be used to describe sort of invasive species, and those are the species that we don't necessarily want to see. So exotic in terms of things you don't see very often, but also they're home to our state fish, the brook trout, and they're just wonderful places to enjoy. And they also just provide a lot of really great benefits. Of course, most of us get our drinking water from our rivers and streams, and so we want them clean and healthy for those reasons.
Well, do you work closely with everybody within the organization? Does everybody have a different job when you meet? What exactly happens during a POWR get-together?
Well, actually, POWR is an organization that actually supports community-based watershed organizations all across the state.
Mm-hmm.
So there's well over 160 of these small, mostly volunteer-led organizations. And the volunteers and the leaders, and we like to call them citizen champions, that are involved with these watershed organizations are actually the ones doing a lot of the great work on the ground. So they're restoring habitat, and they are leading paddling adventures, and they are educating our local communities about the importance of water. And POWR is an organization that facilitates and supports their work. So a POWR get-together is usually a training or an education or a networking event that provides information and scientific information, policy information to these leaders of these organizations that then go out and convey and use that information to protect their local streams. So we're a statewide organization, and we provide training to hundreds and hundreds of people who are typically volunteering their time because they care and because they're passionate about clean water and healthy, vibrant communities.
So this Thursday, you're holding the Wild and Scenic Film Festival on tour virtually so that we can be socially distant and make sure that we continue to keep the guidelines of the CDC and our state officials. But I'm wondering, is this in lieu of an in-person gathering? Because you said, I read on your website,
PAWatersheds.org.
Thank you very much. I read there that you had been postponing an event. Is that in lieu of your film festival? How is that all working this year since we are dealing with COVID?
Yeah. So obviously, like everyone else, we've had to do most of our events online, and we've been really excited about the interest. We must have hit on some topics that these watershed organization volunteers are really eager to learn more about. So we've had some really neat educational events throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And yes, we typically hold our conference around the end of February every 2 years. And this year we're actually postponing that event, but we're fingers crossed that we can hold it in person at the beginning of November.
Nice.
But we thought about, everyone has spent the past year on webinars and being taught new things, and we really just thought that it was time to just celebrate our resiliency and our adaptability, and to celebrate all the good work that that these organizations have managed to do despite the pandemic, and just just have an opportunity to get together for an evening, yes, virtually, but knowing that it's still within the network,
Sure.
and you're going to be enjoying these films with your colleagues and your friends and your community members sort of across the Commonwealth. But it's an opportunity to just celebrate and reflect and be inspired so that when the weather does warm up and when we can do some more things in person, we're just really excited to get back out there and make an impact.
Did you solicit any films for this particular film festival, or did you say, hey, anybody with films about Pennsylvania water? Is that how you touted the event?
Well, actually, the Wild and Scenic Film Festival is a national film festival. It was actually started by a riverkeeper organization out in California.
Okay.
And so the film festival goes on tour every single year.
Neat.
And this is the first year, though, that POWR has decided to host. So they have local hosts of this national on-tour film festival. And the neat thing about it is there are hundreds of films that you can choose from. And the host organization is able to choose films that they feel are either most representative of their mission or perhaps of a topic. So obviously POWR selected films that have to do with water and water quality and paddling. We've also selected some great films that showcase sort of the diversity of people who are enjoying our outdoor spaces.
Cool.
And POWR is an affiliate of an organization called the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, and also known as PEC. We just love our acronyms. And PEC is also an organization that helps to build multi-use trails across the state. So these trails are also for biking, not just hiking.
Sure.
So there are also films that feature biking and cycling and hiking, but there's also films about communities that come together to build trails or to protect a local water quality, or there's even one about protecting our wildlife as they try to make their way across busy highways. All the different things that we care about.
Sure. It's like a fun event that deals with a lot of the serious issues of water conservation.
Yes, but it's uplifting and exciting and inspiring. And so, again, it's kind of a way to say we've all been through a lot. But, we're all doing great work, and there's more great work to be done because we care about these resources. Well,
that's neat, Tali. And it sounds as if a person will be able to buy a ticket, be able to get cozy at home.
Yeah, well, the films are pre-selected. So it's about 2 hours worth of films,
Neat.
And they're not very long. They range from about 8 minutes to 16 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
But we've selected the series of films, and then everybody will be watching the same films together. There's a little chat box so people can kind of interact and share their thoughts on the films.
We've gotten pretty good at this virtual stuff.
Yes, for sure.
Now, how does somebody get involved? What do they do? It's pretty much like a big Zoom call. I mean, except you don't talk back.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy. So as I said, our website is watersheds.org. The event is featured in a number of different places on the website, twice on the homepage. You have to scroll down just a tiny bit to find it. But basically, you can read a little bit more about the film festival. Then you click on a tab that says Purchase Tickets Here. It's a live link. It'll take you right to a registration page where you create an account and you purchase the ticket. There's a couple different price ranges, but they're as low as $15 to join us for the evening. Yeah, and then on the night of, all you do is sign right back in, and the films will be right there, and the chat box will be right there, and you'll be able to watch these really great films.
Did you get a chance to screen the films, Tali?
I did.
Oh, you're all in the know already.
Being a host. Yep. You screened quite a few films. And actually, POWR, I believe, is one of the first organizations to showcase the Wild and Scenic 2021 films. The On-Tour Festival is March to March. And so even if people have participated or watched the Wild and Scenic Film Festival that was maybe hosted by another organization that they support, this is very likely their first chance to see the new just released selections from the just released 2021 list of films.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's this Thursday night with the virtual lobby opening at 6:30. So in case people are clicking around and trying to get their technology straight, you got a half hour to...
Exactly. Yeah, and we'll have some fun things going on in the chat and asking people where they're from and, what why they love their local rivers and streams. And it should be a really fun event.
I wondered about the Riverkeepers Association. Do you work closely with those folks? Are they part of the POWR umbrella? Is that what we were talking about?
So I consider them a partner for sure, both the Middle Susquehanna Riverkeeper, the Lower Susquehanna Riverkeeper. They definitely interact with us. They participate in our events. We support their events. We've had the Middle Susquehanna Riverkeeper actually serve on the planning committee for our conference. And so there's definitely some overlap in there. Not exactly the same mission, but that's good, right? We wouldn't want two people kind of focusing on the exact same things.
Right.
But education and outreach and river protection and engagement. I mean, we're both POWR and the Riverkeeper. In fact, the Riverkeeper is often a recipient of one of our mini grants. So POWR has a mini grant program. It funds, as I said, paddling adventures on the river. So educational paddling adventures on rivers all across the state, some of which are supported by this mini grant, and the Middle Susquehanna Riverkeeper and other riverkeepers have been recipients of those mini grants.
I understand that today, Sunday, is actually the deadline to apply for some of those mini grants.
I think you might be right.
So that's a good mention.
Yes, and that's a really great opportunity to introduce people to our rivers and to recreational opportunities. And it's not just to get out there and paddle, but the hope is that through paddling and through engaging with the river in that really unique way, that people will begin to see themselves as stewards and will want to contribute to efforts to protect and restore our waterways, because they still need a lot of love and a lot of cleaning up in some places. And so we hope that not only will you enjoy a recreational opportunity, but it'll be an opportunity to learn and to get a better understanding of what you can do to make sure that our rivers and streams and wetlands stay healthy and clean.
Well, you can get all the information about this week's Wild and Scenic Film Festival, where activism gets inspired, at watersheds.org, a virtual celebration of water, nature, trails, and collaboration. What is your favorite thing, Tali? Do you like to paddle? Are you more of a hiker? What is your favorite water activity?
I have really begun to enjoy paddling. Obviously, last year our sojourns looked very different than they did, but 2 years ago I had the opportunity to paddle not only on a couple of the sojourn paddling events, but also on the Clarion River, which was the River of the Year, which is another one of our programs, and that's really exciting. I am also personally a cyclist, so I think my favorite thing is to find a wonderful rails to trails that goes along a river, the Pine Creek Trail, and take my bike out and explore that way. And I've done a little bit of fishing in the past couple years, so sort of enjoying that stream-based activity as well.
You can always add another thing. There's always another thing to love.
There is, yes.
Well, it's really been wonderful speaking with you. As a volunteer for some of these organizations around Pennsylvania, that would be the way probably to get involved with POWR, because as we talked about, you've been sort of an umbrella organization for lots of local folks that have passions of their own.
Absolutely. And there's another feature on our website. It's an interactive map where you can actually see where these individual community-based watershed organizations are. Chances are there is one near you, and chances are that they would love to have the additional support and interest of any member of the public. You don't have to necessarily have a science background or a conservation background, but if you are just passionate about making a difference in your community, and there's a lot of opportunities to get involved. And so there's an interactive map on our website. Anybody can contact me at any time via email that's also on the website and ask me about a local organization that might be near them. But these are groups of volunteers from all different walks of life who have either lived somewhere for a very long time or have moved to an area and just want to be a part of ensuring that the quality of life in their communities and that there's access to trails and waterways. If you're into education and outreach or anything you might be interested in, a watershed organization would love to have your support, your time, your interest.
Well, because you do grants and things, you receive grants, is there much fundraising that you do?
So our organization is a grant and a nonprofit organization, mm-hmm. So we are grant supported. My role, everyone that works in a nonprofit wears lots of different hats.
Sure.
And definitely grant writer is one of those. But POWR is, again, like I said, one of the things we do is offer a mini grant program to organizations that host paddling events. Mm-hmm. And there's also a grant associated with the River of the Year program, which is an annual celebration. It's actually a program that's voted on by the public. So people nominate a river to be the River of the Year, and then there's this really exciting public voting process that takes place. And that also comes with a grant to the organization that is actually awarded the River of the Year designation. So, yeah, fundraising is definitely a part of any nonprofit sort of something you have to do when you work for a nonprofit organization.
You wouldn't say no if anybody wanted to hand you a check.
Right, that's right.
For the organization.
Right. Yep, and we actually did just kick off a new membership campaign. So individuals that feel inclined to support in that way with a donation to an organization that helps to protect and restore our Commonwealth rivers can join as an individual member, and there's benefits there. And then, as I said, these community watershed organizations that exist across the state can also join and also get additional benefits for their organization. So we did just kick off a kind of enhanced membership campaign with some great benefits.
Well, we can find out all about it going to PAWatersheds.org and find out as well about this week's Wild and Scenic Film Festival that happens Thursday night, kicking off right around 6:30. Tali MacArthur, you are the program manager for Watershed Outreach as well as for the Pennsylvania Organization for Watersheds and Rivers. You're a passionate lady. Thank you for all of your information today, and we look forward to seeing the film festival at PAWatersheds.org.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for inviting me to participate and share the story of POWR in our film festival.
InTouch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us regarding questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays between 8 and 5, 570-323-8200. You can also write to us at 1685 4 Mile Drive, Williamsport, PA 17701. Attention Freddi Hammer. Or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archive programs of our InTouch series, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. Each current weekly program is featured on the Backyard Broadcasting websites. Thanks for listening to InTouch, a production of Backyard Broadcasting.